the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. Now, what's going to go on there? Well, we seem to be desperately crawling towards the IMF. Well, what is the IMF? Well, the IMF is, actually, I don't really bloody know. You'll have to Google it and tell me. I'm sure that, oh, actually, this is YouTube. So, hello, Mum. You're the only person watching this. International Monetary Fund is like a quasi bank of last resort. And when you as a country are really fucked up, voila, the IMF is there to bail you out. It's not quite as easy as that. So when you get a bailout from anybody, and this is not the first time, so we've currently got the Red Party in control, and the Red Party have decided to tax everything. Well, okay, that's your prerogative. So you've decided to tax everything. Well, that means growth slows to a stop. It's called stagnation. So you get inflation and it's stagnant, so there's no growth. So normally you get inflation and growth, or deflation, and you see, so you get one or the other. So to get the best or the worst of both worlds, yeah, well done, guys. So the last time this happened was 1976. Now, you older people out there will know that 1976, there was a long heat wave and it was hottest on record, and I remember it for that very reason. It was a summer that I remember as a kid playing in the garden. Every single day was hot. But we also had the Red Party. I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Dennis Healey. Dennis Healey and his eyebrows. There you go. So Dennis was in charge, and I'm oversimplifying it, but they spent until there was nothing left to spend. They taxed until there was nothing left to tax, and they fucked it up good time. And they needed an IMF bailout. Now, again, I come round to the issue of what's the problem with a bailout. Well, it's this. The IMF don't say, listen, UK, Great Britain, whatever you want to call us, England, because Scotland ain't doing shit, is it? Wales ain't doing shit either, although they're nicer. Northern Ireland, well, pretty much on their own. The only people with any money is England. But there you go. I said it like it is. The IMF don't say, hello, London. We'll say London because that's the capital. All right, we'll go with that. Here's $1 trillion, okay? Good luck, boys. Here you go. Take that, see what you can do with it. No, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. First of all, they don't just give you $1 trillion. They don't give you anything. They lend it to you. And what they do is they string a great big long list of conditions with it. Everything that you've got to do, in all the hoops that you've got to jump through in order to get this amount of money. This, I'll just call it $1 trillion because it seems a nice round figure. Now, what that means is this. This trillion has a load of strings attached to it. Do you remember the Greece bailout? The infamous Greece bailout, and I think it was other European countries. Germany were lending a lot of money at the time, which they can't do anymore because they haven't got that sort of money. And along came of how you have to run your country, which was an interesting one. And this is what would happen with the IMF and us. If we have to go to the IMF, I've got a little spider here and it's driving me nuts. If we have to go to the IMF, what will happen is the decision-making process gets taken away from this government, us, and it gets given to the IMF. But the IMF is not a person or a bank, it's kind of a group of basic private equity, probably. The IMF is probably one big giant private equity firm. Yeah. That decision-making process that gets taken away from us gets put into the hands of the IMF. Now, you'll have to Google who makes that, but it's the people that lend the money get to decide how it's spent. So, I don't know. They'd probably say you're going to have to cut down on spending, decrease debt, cut HS2. That'll save a couple of bob. I drove past that the other day. Bloody hell. I can see where the money's going there. And so the decision-making process is taken away from this government and it's given to somebody else. And that's basically the problem. I say the problem It's all according what political belief you have. Because in my view, when income tax exceeds the level of spending of benefits, something's wrong. And so they say, right, well, no, you've got to bring down your benefit bill. You've got to, and so pretty much it'll be the capitalists that take over because the socialists fucked it up. Yep, that would be I've oversimplified it, but not really. So capitalists in charge, men in black suits and white shirts, they get to take over the decision making, and all the blue-haired people get to protest. Good, go do some protesting and leave the rest of us to make some fucking money. So how will that affect the housing market, and how will that affect me and the people on this channel? Damn, I don't know. Interest rates might go up, they might go down, they might stay the same. I just don't know. If they go down, it could stimulate, they might force them down, but then if they force that down, inflation goes up. But if they bring interest rates down, bang, if they make they might say keep interest rates where you are, but make the lending criteria a lot easier. And if they did that, people would start buying houses and moving around. They could get rid of stamp duty. You could do all these things. You could stimulate the economy massively. But that's not how left-wing politics works. They want to tax it, and all they've done right now, in my view, is just find different ways of taxing you. And so that will eventually mean, when we go back to Margaret Thatcher's statement, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. Now that's a really, really important statement, because it's true, and that's the problem. You're going to run out of other people's money. And that's where we are right now. They're running out of things to tax. There's nothing left to tax. Might start taxing tax. I don't know. So they're trying to do everything they can to raise money through tax. And really, there's other ways of raising money, through stimulation. But that's not the way the left-wing socialists work. Socialism works on the basis that the left-wing socialists in charge, they're allowed to be rich. And all the other rich people, the really rich people, they're allowed to be rich because they fund the rich socialists. But then everybody else has got to toe the line. So nobody's allowed to be rich except for the wealthy socialists in charge and the really wealthy private equity that lend to the socialists in charge. Did that make sense? So, are we on our way to an IMF bailout? Yes. I think we are. It'll be interesting to see. Now, last time I was a kid, 1976, didn't understand it, didn't really know, and I was only shown what was on TV. Now we have the internet, now you can read about it. So, I'm going to probably be in a fast sports car, winding through some Swiss mountain pass, on my way to find some beautiful Swiss chocolate, drinking coffee, probably somewhere in Zermatt, hoping to find a Rolex. Well, we all have a dream, don't we? And if I can do that, and I can watch the IMF bailout, because it's certainly gonna fuck some people up, I just hope it doesn't fuck me up too.